Hey, what's up, audience? How's it going? So, I've noticed something. I don't know if you have too. And you know what that is? That thinking is toxic. I know, right? But if you really watch it, if you really observe it, you can see how thinking makes you feel bad. And of course, and I'm talking about this specific type of thinking, psychological type of thinking. Because the natural type of thinking about things doesn't seem like it has the same effect, and it doesn't seem like it's the same process either. It's like you gotta get something done, and then boom, 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 your brain is doing it. It's not the same process. But this thinking that happens, like memory and stuff like that, where you focus on um, like solutions, like psychological solutions, that type of thinking, it's toxic. It really is toxic, man. This is why sometimes, like once a week, if I don't overdo it, ideally I smoke weed once a week. Um, just to relax and see different perspectives. It really helps me to see things in a different way. But that's not the point. The point is that sometimes I feel very, very crisp and fresh the next day if I smoke one day only. And of course, during that day, I'm not thinking at all. Everything's just happening. I'm enjoying my time. And I was wondering what's that. But if I smoke continuously, then the cloudiness come in. But the thing is that sometimes that cloudiness come in just simply through the process of thinking. Sometimes I just get caught in it, and and then later I'm like, holy shit! Look, I got caught in the thinking, and now I feel bad. Now I have made a little mess. So, and then it affects your thinking, your clarity, excuse me, your thinking. Well, the right kind of thinking that you need to get shit done. You can't focus. You see, this backwards type of thinking really is toxic, man. And like the and like especially if you use like these social media apps and stuff like that, watch what's going on in your mind. There's all sorts of judgments that are happening. That's process of thinking. Isn't it interesting? And I think it's more toxic and it makes you feel bad more than alcohol or any other substances, mind altering substances. Like you can actually have a hangover from thinking too much, especially that, oh, well, that emotional thinking. So, not to say now that you now need to, suddenly, oh no, God forbid, I'm not going to think. No, no. The answer is not to try to stop thinking because the idea of stop thinking is another thought. Okay? So you don't do that, you don't make a mess out of it. It really is just where you place your attention. And notice sometimes you want to place attention on something that is nice and good and things are flowing there, but there's the gravity towards other things that are, makes you think about them, emotional thinking, and creates toxicity in you. So it's almost like addiction to thinking. And it may be like you get rid of this type of addiction, that type of addiction, that type of addiction, and maybe the last addiction that you have is thinking. Again, I'm distinguishing the thinking from, using your brain. This, let's just call it emotional thinking. Because that type of thinking is run by the emotions. So, what the hell? Thinking is a type of addiction. The most toxic one, I should say. But let's just not create the church about, anti-thought church. Let's create another movement and you just say like, oh, did you know? Fight the addiction to thought. Fight the addiction to thinking. All addictions are fought by giving a full attention to the root cause of it. This one's a weird one, huh? But for example, you may say, "What aren't you thinking right now? As I'm talking to you." No, I'm not thinking. It the language just happens with no thought, because I don't know what I'm gonna say next. That's why. I just know that I've noticed the toxicity of thinking. And and it's not that you gotta control it again, it's just the same way like you would try to control the addiction to overeating, to, drinking too much. There's no way to control it like that. Like I'm saying, it's the attention to it. It's the attention to it. And you can totally have conversation with someone without a single thought in that type of emotional kind of thought. So, and it's actually a different type of interaction, of course, when you're not really running from the memory, which is a thought. It's really exhausting. And you know what? I'll tell you what. And if you're stuck in that type of thinking and you want out of it, I can show you how. By short-circuiting your brain with impossible questions. Impossible to answer questions. And then your awareness and attention must fall onto something else besides the brain. And it falls through the crack into this void where everything's kind of peaceful, happening by itself, and there's no process of thinking. And this is why sometimes you can feel that toxicity when you go into the groups of people in the matrix. You can feel that happening. And so then of course, how do you maintain your center in that toxicity? Then the answer is that the power is the answer. The power of your presence is the answer. And sometimes you can, I don't know, it seems like you can develop that muscle of just having no thought and still functioning. Well, not that still functioning, functioning even better. It's uh, like toddlers, for example, right? There's not a lot of um, there's not a lot of thinking going on there. I'm not saying that should turn into a toddler, but that's what usually happens. To be honest, when you chill and the thought process stops, you do turn into a toddler. Nothing serious anymore. But there is truth in that. If by ridding this type of addiction, there is a certain type of sobriety and clarity that arises. It's almost like really like probably stop drinking alcohol. I never had a problem with the alcohol. I never really had any kind of. Sometimes I would over smoke weed, but very rarely. But addiction to thinking, that probably was the most toxic thing. All right, I'm just harping on this, and I think I'm beating a dead horse, as they say in America. Anyway, oh, you like my jag? That's my little jag. I'll see you in the next one. And anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Take care.